This is the Enterprise United Methodist Church, constructed in 1878, destroyed by fire and rebuilt in 1905. So we're going to have to say that this is, the structure was built in 1905. So we don't know how much of it was left, how much they kept, how much they were able to save after the fire, or if it was just burned to the ground and completely rebuilt up. Typically, a church is considered, its congregation in the building is just that, the building. It's not the congregation. So this building is probably 1905 and moved here in the 70s from Enterprise, which was south of Dade City. And what I read said that it began being settled in the early 1800s. So that's in keeping with what I learned earlier today about the community in what was known then as Tuckerville, later became Richland, in that it was settled in the late 18th century. So this community was settled in the early 19th century. So there were people down there. There was an enclave down there of people, which we knew already. But I think it's interesting to re-note it, because I wasn't aware of that at all. White people down here that early. It's astonishing. This is a church board used to report membership and the weekly songs, etc., found in a field near Mount Zion Church, which was built in 1840 and fell down in 1923, and the board was found later. That's very interesting. This is a classic cracker construction. It's up off the ground. There's windows, like 6 windows total. No, 8 windows. There's small windows back here in the pulpit area, and then 3 on either side. Made in the classic angular construction. It's rectangle or square, and with as many windows as you can put around it for ventilation. So, and this is very austere by comparison to what we've seen with some others, and I really, really like that. These people were just bare bones. What I read earlier said the original, all this wood is original, the stove is original. So all this stuff goes back, over 100 years. And here are the piano player area and the pulpit area. So the piano player would have exited, the pastor would have come up and made the announcements to give it his sermon. This talks about Robert Sumner. He built this church, and he came here during the war. He was burnt out during the March to the Sea, and picked up what he had left. The second Enterprise Church built in 1905. That must be this building here. That's what we're looking at right now. So he would have picked up and moved lock, stock, and barrel down here. He lost a couple of kids. One was served his country in the war and died as a result of that. And another child died en route, having been kicked in the head by a horse. I'm going to go check outside. Here's our ADA ramp, which would not have been here at the time. You walked up the steps, or someone would have helped you up the steps if you couldn't walk up the steps, because people helped each other back in those days. And it just gives you a bit of idea what it looks like from the outside and the size of it.